Hey everybody, it's Dan Devey for thetheatersource.com. We're here at the Atwater Village Theater in Los Angeles, California for a new show called The Fisherman's Wife, directed by Gates McFadden, whom you will know from TV's Star Trek The Next Generation. We're going to take you around the theater really quick, show you what they have to offer, and then we're going to sit down with Gates and talk a little bit about this incredibly bizarre and wonderful show called The Fisherman's Wife, a sex farce with sea creatures. Well, Gates, first of all, thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking. It's fantastic to see you, and this play just blew my mind.
Oh, that's so cool.
Absolutely blew my mind. Now, here's the real tough part. How do we describe this to people who haven't seen it?
Well, Steve, the writer, Steve Yockey, really did come up with a great subtitle, which is A Sex Farce with Sea Creatures. I mean, how many of those do you see? And it really is that. I don't know. It's a wonderfully wacky, weird, funny show. It's slightly dirty, but you don't really see anything, so there's nothing really that happens. But I think of it as a very, very hilarious fable with some very unexpected things, and it's silly and wonderful. It was very challenging because farce, I think, is about the hardest thing to do, actually, because if you go too much one way, it becomes too camp or kind of off-putting, and if you go too much the other way, it can just be naturalistic and mean, because there's a lot of meanness in farce, in all farce,
right.
Moliere or whatever. But if you can find that line, it's very clownesque, and we had a blast. I got a great cast.
Some of your cast members, I just remember there were some lines that were just delivered so incredibly well, they just stick with you. There's the first line, I'm in a bad mood forever. Which is just she had such great delivery on that.
She's such a great comedian. She's very talented. That's Sarah, who also writes.
Sarah.
And yeah, she's wonderful. Sarah McCarran. Just an incredibly talented cast, actually. And this, all of them, really. There's no favorite. I love them. And I love my two puppeteers. They were former students of mine. I adore them. I think they're people who also make films. They're actors. They are in our affiliates program here. Yeah. After reading this play,
I mean, this is not a simple,
No.
boy meets girl, boy loses girl. There's clearly something a little strange going on in Steve's head, which is strange and wonderful.
Strange and wonderful. And I do think, though, that he's hit something. Relationships do go stagnant, and I think he deals with it in a completely unexpected and unique way. And if you don't see it as a literal thing, if you see it as a fable and see it as funny, it's because in relationships it starts out with a couple and they're blaming each other, and then it turns out they're actually able to, because they've changed in some way themselves, they're able to see and appreciate the other person, which is a very standard sort of thing, except that how this happens is not standard.
Such a different way of getting there, which is wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about the space, because people who aren't familiar with black box theater productions can think that how interesting could it be? It's a room with black walls and that's it. But you're able to do so much, so many unexpected things. We've got tentacles coming out from doorways. There's a puppet show within a wall. The cast seems to be entering and exiting from like 10 different vantage points. Can you talk a little bit about the challenge of staging that and just how rewarding it is when it all comes together?
One of the things, I'm a choreographer as well as a director, and I love the audience being surprised by how the space is used, so that they don't go in and go, oh, I'm comfortable here and this is my seat and everything's going to happen here. That it could happen right next to you, it could happen around you, and not in a way that you're going to have to be, get a pie thrown in your face, but in a way of just not knowing what's going to happen next. I think that's the key. I like films where I don't know what's happening next. I like theater where I don't know what's happening next. And so that's kind of cool to me. And one of the things that I try to do when I direct is to use the space, or to put the audience so that they're almost involved in the play as well. They're kind of right there. I like it when they almost have to participate.
Right. It's funny you say that, because the night that I saw it, when we were sitting kind of off to the side, and there's a moment when one of the characters comes out and the spotlight turns on, and the seat that I was in was right in the spotlight. My friend tapped me. He was like, "Are you in this? Do you have lines?" I was like, "No, but this is great. Let's see what happens."
Yeah, there's something very cool about Black Box because of that. You can put the chairs anyway. You can have the audience in the middle and everything happening around them. I like the fact that we can change it up. And for example, in Theater 1, we have never done the same seating ever in anything we've done. It's sometimes everything's on one side of the thing, sometimes it's a thrust, we make it into a thrust. We change where the booth is even.
Wow.
We do things where it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be. What's good is that the audience can get disoriented in a positive way. You don't go in there with your head in the program and just like, okay, this is what this is going to be, and it's going to be intermission. You don't know. That's why in this show, the intermission is kind of entertainment. It's not really, you can go to the bathroom if you have to, but you are going to miss something, so it's your choice.
I did get up, went to the bathroom, came back, and there they were singing, and it was it a clarinet and a ukulele. And was it a Lady Gaga song?
There's a Lady Gaga song on it, and there's also a Sonny and Cher song on it, in Chinese and Russian,
Just so unexpected, and I came back in and I sat down next to her. I said, "What am I missing?" I was like, "I'm not sure."
Well, see, that's a good place to be. I'm not sure, it's the idea of engaging.
This is the 25th anniversary this year.
That's right.
Right. Are you crazed with
there's a lot of things.
And...
I've chosen them. I support the theater with my appearances. I just was in Austin with the full cast last weekend, and it's a lot of fun. We all get along, but it also really supports my hobby of doing a nonprofit theater company, because nobody makes money here, but most of the people are volunteers, but you do have to earn money to pay for the rent and things like that. So
it's like the house that TNG built a little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it must be great though, getting to see everybody from the cast, because
it's a lot of fun.
Anyone who's a fan of the show knows all of the behind the scenes stories, that you guys actually do really like each other and talk to each other.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. And we have a lot of fun together. Patrick directed Brent, myself, Jonathan Colomini, I think that was it, in Every Good Boy Deserves Favor by Tom Stoppard. And we took it on the road. This was while we were filming. We did it because of Star Trek, we did it in 6,000-seat houses, 5,000 and 6,000-seat houses, with an 80-piece orchestra, and we did the acting in between. And I cannot tell you how many people loved it and said they had never, ever gone to any kind of theater or symphony thing in their lives, but they actually loved it. And that is the power of being on a TV series that's popular. So, hey, if you want to support me, please do come out and take a look at the theater out here. We have shows of all different kinds, but they're new works. And if people have scripts that are interesting, that people can volunteer, they can get involved.
For theaters like this, for smaller theaters, I'm always curious as to how you choose the areas that one would create.
That's a good question.
Establish a theater where you know that people will come, they'll be able to get here, you'll be able to get word out about the shows that you're putting on.
When I was young, I went to the public theater when it had really not been open that long. You would see 3 shows would let out at the same time. And there was this feeling of, wow, there's stuff happening. And you'd see all these actors and all these audience members and people who had just been down at the museum seeing some modern art. They'd be there, or someone hearing some very great music. And that kind of community, I feel, is so important. And I love Los Angeles now. I really didn't like it 25 years ago. I love it now. I really, really do. I wouldn't want to live, anywhere else. I like getting away from it sometimes, but it's really, there's so much happening here now. And we're struggling, all of the theater companies, because it's such a spread out city. It makes it much tougher. But I really feel if we can get film and theater more connected in terms of the people who are doing it, like I'm really game to do a series of shorts here, or have people be able to come here and use the space and shoot some parts of their movies and stuff like that. I think it's really, really terrific.
That's the feeling that I got after the show let out, because you do have that great like courtyard area in the center of the two buildings, and it really felt kind of like a side street in Manhattan with better weather.
Exactly.
That's how it felt to me.
Sounds good to me. And you have parking. Yeah, so it's just now developing an audience, and that's why it's wonderful that people like you are coming out and trying to talk about shows that are done.
Moving out here at the beginning of the year, I've seen only a handful of live shows. And coming from New York, you have that kind of like, well, LA is really just for movies and TV. And I've enjoyed every show that I've seen. Every live theater production I've seen has been interesting, has been different, and the talent is
it's extraordinary.
The same you would find on a New York stage.
I mean, Circle X, Son of Semele, Rogue Theater Machine, Rogue Artists, there's a lot of amazing companies. And they do, not all of them do brand new work, but a lot of them do. And they do things in very unique and wonderful ways. Ghost Road Company, the Road Theater Company, there's an amazing theater community here. I didn't know about it 25 years ago, but it's really here, and it's like even all the things that happen down at Red Cat, which is connected to the LA Phil. Some fantastic stuff. So come on, we got to get the people out and seeing these things.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On the show and the theater. I think
really appreciate your coming.
Really fantastic.
Thank you.
And keep us posted on what's happening, and
all right.
we'll try to get more people here.
Yeah, fantastic.